I'm about to throw some cylinders, some 2-pound cylinders. I thought this would be a good time to show y'all how I would pull a two-pound cylinder. If you're a beginner potter, you probably started around like a pound, and you might be thinking, "Oh, I bet might be able to do 2 pounds." I encourage you to do 2 pounds. Make lots of things, good sized bowls, good sized mugs. Just going to show you my process and maybe a few different techniques, and tag along. And it's going to be kind of like a rough, uncut video. All right, y'all. I don't wedge 2-pounders. I tend to wedge after 2 pounds, though. Well, all right. So, a key to a good cone would be pressing with this side of your hand and then going up into the palm. And it goes up into the palm, like when you squeeze in, you're gonna get kind of like a mushroom like that. And then when that mushroom happens, you squeeze this part, you squeeze the rounder part with your palm, which finishes out the cone. All right. And then whenever you do that, man, this clay is stubborn recycle. Let's get it good. Remember when you go down on these, so say I'm going up, I'm going to push down and forward. When you push down and forward, it falls into place. These are going to be wide beer steins is what I'm going for here. A lot of people think it's crazy to lay it out flat like that. Kind of looks like we're almost going for a plate. But you'll see this next move, it's going to bring it all back. Well, probably the mug is going to start about right there. So going underneath it with the sponge and fingers and pushing forward, and then compressing the rim each time. I'm just going to tuck my way through it. Right here, going in with more so my middle finger and my finger inside guiding right above. Bang. All right, you kind of see it's taking place. Third pull should get pretty much everything up. The goal is 3 pulls generally. Don't stress yourself out too much when you're starting, but you definitely want that to be about it. This one I had a tiny bit left. Should shape that up. Not much of a pull right there, more of just grabbing that last little bit, pulling it up a little bit to probably about right here. Collaring in, I just kind of do this. Some people do 6 points of contact, but honestly, I'm not used to that. So I usually just grab it, kind of a 6 points of contact, just like all the way around, you know, kind of get the feel for it. That's a production kind of thing. A lot of people will use their stick, but the more pottery you do, the less and less you want to like grab for the stick or grab for this and that. So a lot of experienced potters, not all, but a lot of them use very few tools. Like I have 1, 2, 3 tools. This one I really like. It's a metal rib, and it's great for these cylinders here because I can just rock it right up. I usually do it right here, but I'm going to do it here to show you. You can see the slip being taken off. All that yummy slip. scrape it off just so next time it's not kind of dry, you know. And then if you're looking for something to clean off the rim, which I suggest you do clean your rims. Mic check still going? Okay. A piece of plastic from like a plastic bag, or like, I use thin painter's plastic, and it's got to be the thin up at Home Depot to cover my pot. So it's like a giant roll of painter's plastic that lasts you forever. And you just pull off a little piece of that and it's perfect. So now that's about a 2-pound cylinder right here. My hands are big. I'm kind of a bigger guy. I'm 6'6". My hands are pretty large. So it's kind of like, you know, if you have smaller hands, it's pretty tall. But that's a 2-pound. It's going to be a beer stein. And I'm going to switch up the angle, and I'm going to let y'all watch it from a different angle so y'all can see these movements in a little bit different way. Here's a little different angle. I'm going to cut this one off. I'm going to grab one finger, and I kind of grip it with my other 3 fingers right here on the sides. Boom. Spin the wheel, bring it right towards me. And then I'm going to take this off, and I kind of make sure your hands are dry. That's key. Like, scrape them off at least. And then make sure your pot is free of slip from that metal rib tip we showed. And then you're going to grab it. It should pop right off. Then you're ready for another. Cover up those balls with plastic. Talking about my clay. All right, going up, down, going in with the bottom, and then catching it with the palm, like that. Remember, go in here and then catch with the palm. So it's going to go up like that, and it's going to look like a mushroom, and that's where we catch it right here. And that makes more of a cone, and then right with this part of our hand, it pushes down and forward. It should lay it, but you're going to have this hand here to help support, just to show you all that. So it's down and forward. And then let off easy. Everything in pottery, you start kind of easy but firm, and then at the end you let off easy. And you got to let it make a few laps before you take off the pressure. So right here, going down, establishing the depth, and then I go ahead and move it out in one step because I kind of know that's right. I know like the depth is correct. But that does come with experience. I'm just showing y'all how I do it. If you want to go in cone, make a little cone first and then needle check it, that's great. It's definitely not the wrong way to do it. It's just after a lot of pots, you just kind of figure it out. But bigger pots, I always needle. So the mug is going to be starting by right there. That's about where the base is going to be. So I'm pulling that up. Literally how it looks, and then I'm pushing in, and then I'm coming up a little bit with the inside finger, almost hooking it. It's kind of a crazy pull, but once you do it a few times and you get it down, it's so good. It's quick. This one's just a standard pull here. I put most pressure with my middle finger, and then I let it get a few laps, and then I take my finger off. I can't stress how important that is. Gotta let it finish out. So right here, we're gonna start at the bottom, make sure it's even before we go up. Even, going up. Real light right here, almost like you're not pulling anything because it's about where I wanna be. Whenever you feel it get to where you wanna be, just kind of let off the pull. But still finish your pull, but just kind of guide it up. You get little chunkies, just take them off. That is more so whole hand, and then this, kind of like this, pushing in. I like to use a variety of pulls, and I'm excited to show y'all kind of like different varieties, because there's so many ways to do pottery. I highly encourage when I have students for them to try different pulls. After they get like, I teach them a basic one, but after that I'm like, guys, really experiment here. You might find a way that you just find way more comfortable. That right there, this finger's hitting a little bit, kind of like. This one's gonna be just a pull with my finger. I'm just making sure all that's up. That's it. It's not much of a pull. The idea is to get it in 3, but sometimes when you're really trying to get them fined out, like refined, you gotta do like 4. But if you're like, it's taking you 8 pulls to get it up, you just gotta know you gotta put more pressure. You're just not putting enough pressure. Don't feel discouraged. It's just learning how much to push and when to let off that push. Because after you get past like the little part down here and you're starting to pull, like right here is where you relieve a lot of pressure. It's almost like a flow. You guide it up. Pottery is a very handsy. You gotta like get your hands in this clay and like really figure it out. YouTube videos definitely help, but I would definitely suggest taking a class and then watching some YouTube. Grab with 3 fingers on either side. Index fingers. Boom. It's really what it looks like, just on the wheel head. That is ready to lift off. And if I'm in production mode, I go scrape with the rib. Metal ribs work the best for this. Towards me,